promise you right now that this is easy peasy. Okay, so you guys might think that the age of having a website is completely dead, but trust me, I assure you, it is not. In my humble opinion, I think it's still the most professional landing page you can have for whatever you want to do, whether it's for your portfolio, for your business, if you want to sell something, honestly, anything that you would want to show other people. Now, when people think about creating an actual website, people think it's really challenging, they don't have the time and effort to do it, that it's way too much work, and that they might not even have the skill level required to create a website. And specifically, I think a lot of times when people think about creating a website, it's almost synonymous to having to know how to code. But I assure you, again, that's not the case. I think in recent years, multiple platforms have been created so that people can make websites without needing to code. Although coding is still very important in our world today, I think the times of needing how to code to build a website are long gone. So today I'm going to share with you the platform I use to create my websites, and I'm going to walk you right through every single step of creating it so that you guys can see that it doesn't take that much effort, it does not take that much time, and that you can do it right from where you're sitting in the next hour. I promise you, I'm not just saying all of this for the sake of this video. I actually recommend this website to all of my friends looking to build a portfolio or a website of sorts, and if they don't have one, then I suggest that they make one through this website. And this holy grail website that we're talking about today is called Squarespace. I've actually created my own 2 websites on Squarespace itself, one for my film and photography portfolio and one for my dance company. So I can assure you that the steps are pretty simple, and not only that, I think one of the biggest pros of using a platform like Squarespace is that it's also very easily updatable. The issue with coding is that when you want to update your website, you have to update it through code, and that does take a lot of time and effort and energy and skill. But again, with Squarespace, that's not the case. I update my websites all the time. I update it real time, and if there's ever a problem that I need to troubleshoot, it usually fixes right away. How I found Squarespace actually was that I wanted to create a website years ago. At this point, I had a blog on blogger.com, if you guys remember those days of using Blogger, and I wanted to upgrade it. I had my own domain, but I really wanted to customize my own website, and at the time I didn't know of any online service that was easily customizable. So I sat down, I learned how to code. I coded my own website from scratch, and I figured out how to host it from my computer and got it online. And then every time I would want to update it, I had to go into the code, write in everything I wanted to change, any updates, etc. And then I'd have to make my changes public by republishing it through the way that I was hosting it. And that, at the time and even now, is a lot of work. And in the process, I was talking to some friends, doing some online research, and that's when I found Squarespace, looked at the details, figured it was worth it, and then here I am now with 2 websites hosted on Squarespace. Most people hire others to do their websites, and I can assure you that Squarespace is an easier and cheaper alternative. Okay, now for the actual tutorial portion, I'm gonna go ahead and get on my computer and show you exactly how I would start to build a website on Squarespace. Okay, so as you guys can see, I'm here on squarespace.com. And I am logged into my account, so if you guys want to go ahead and create an account if you haven't already, then go ahead. Now that you are into your account, you can go ahead and press Get Started on the top right here. Once you go ahead and press that, it's going to ask you a few questions, and I think that this is a good way for Squarespace to understand exactly what kind of website you are looking to make. For this example, I'm just going to go ahead and say that I'm creating a portfolio for my photography business. So I'm going to say just that, portfolio for photography, and then continue. And now what this does is that Squarespace gives you a few templates that it thinks that you should use for the purpose you just typed in, and this is helpful because they have a lot of templates. And if you guys have the time, if you guys are curious, go ahead and just spend some time looking at their different templates. I did that, and that's how I got a gauge of what they have, what I could make my website be. And then once I did go through all of them, it was obviously easier to choose which one I wanted to use. Now, one thing about their templates is that you can always change it. So let's say you set up a website with a certain template, and 10 days later, a month later, a year later, you don't like it. you can go ahead and use one of their other templates and just switch your information to it. So it's a pretty simple way of doing it, and I think it's easy and it's a great way to change it if you really want to. It's nice that the option is there to do that. Again, if you were to do this from scratch from a coding point of view, that would mean you would basically have to restart, code everything from the beginning, design everything through the code. So this is a huge plus for Squarespace actually, because it makes it so easy to change up the look and template of your website without doing much work. Okay, now let's just say I'm gonna go with this template over here, and you can preview the template or you can start with it. I'm gonna go ahead and start with this template. Now, when you start your site, you actually have a 14-day trial period. So in those 14 days, you can completely set up your website, see how it's going to look, and set it all up. Like I said, the setting up of the actual website honestly takes less than an hour, and then you can take more time to personalize it. Let's just say it is a portfolio type of website, then you can go ahead and pick all the images you want, set up exactly how you want to organize it, add your pages, add your tabs, things like that. And it honestly takes way less than 14 days. So 14 days is a great trial period. If you guys are interested in even trying this out, you guys can go ahead and start this and then try it for 14 days. If you guys like it, then go ahead and pay the subscription. Now it's gonna show me this. I'm gonna say start, and here is your workspace. So as you can tell, this is your workspace, and on the right side of the screen, you can view real-time your changes, and on the left side is your working space, which is where you can change all the specifications of your website. So I'm not gonna go through each and every single little tab here on the left, but you can go ahead and go through them, explore how Squarespace works, and I promise you, it's very, very simple. This site is very user-friendly, and I think you'll agree with me once you start using it. So just to give you an example of how you can start customizing your website, you want to go into pages on your left, and this is going to show you the pages that your website has currently. So as you can tell on the left, it says there's a portfolio tab, a blog tab, an about tab, and a contact tab, and then you can see how it looks live on the right here. You can go ahead, and if you click on it, it'll take you into the exact page where you can really start customizing your website. As you guys just saw, it asked me if I wanted to make this a page for my own because this is a demo page, and I went ahead and said yes. And so this page is actually set up just like a gallery page, and so it's very easy to just go ahead and add your images here on the left, and they will show up in your gallery on your right. Now in the pages, how you would add a page is you press the plus button right next to main navigation, and you're given all these different layouts and ways to create a page of a certain kind. So as you can see, you can do a blank, you can do an about type page, a contact page, a booking page. You can have a page with all your products that you want to sell. You can have a gallery page. And so as you guys can see, you guys can really customize this. You guys can have a tab on your website that is your gallery and that shows your portfolio. And then on the next tab, you could have a products page where you show the merchandise that you have to sell. And then on the next page, you could have a calendar maybe of bookings, and you can show your clients what dates are available and what dates you're not available. So this is the main page over here, how you actually edit the content of your website and each one of the pages. Now, if you go back to the home tab and you go into design, this is where you set all your design settings. So now within this design tab, what you can do is actually customize the settings of how your website is going to look. What I mean by that is the color, the font that your website uses, the color of anything you'd want to highlight, the color of links. All of that kind of design aspect of your website is done through this tab. If you guys are familiar with basic coding at all, it's as if the Pages tab is your structure, your HTML, and then your Design tab is your CSS, which is your design. So basically in the Pages tab, you're setting the structure of your website, like page A, page B, page C, etc. This is how I want it structured. When I open this tab, this should show up. But then within design, you're actually designing what those pages will encompass. So what fonts you're using, the colors, the styling. Is your text centered? Is your text not centered? How do the buttons look on your website? Things like that. And so while you're making your website, The Pages tab and the Design tab are the two tabs you're going to use the most. Now here, if you go back home, as you can see, you have other tabs, and I'll just briefly go over exactly what each tab is for. The Commerce tab is if you would want to sell anything on your website. So when you go into this tab, you can have a summary of your inventory, your customers, the orders that you've gotten, any discounts you want to place on your items, things like that, and then of course the payment from Squarespace, etc. And that's all something you would need to set up through this tab. Now next, the Marketing tab is really going to be about marketing your website and the items on your website. So that includes having maybe an announcement bar at the top of your website. I use this a lot, so let's say for my dance company website, if we have a dance workshop coming up, I'll go ahead and put it in that announcement bar up top that shows up right on the homepage when someone goes to your website, so that it's like a call to action. So if I were to host a dance workshop, I would say dance workshop on this date at this time in this city, and click for tickets or whatever it may be. So it's an easy way to get the attention of the people coming to your website and maybe have a call to action to something that you want them to look at. Another thing that you can do in marketing that's actually new to Squarespace is email campaigning, and so that's a cool new feature. Then you have your Analytics tab, and that's going to tell you the analytics of your website. And this of course is important to see who's coming to your website, where are they coming from, how many people are visiting your website, things like that. So you can really use that tool within your business. And analytics, of course, in any business are a very important tool to have. Last, you have your Settings tab, and this is more for the settings of your account. This is where you would go to set up some random things like connect all your other social media accounts, domains that you have attached to this account, whether you get it through Squarespace or an external service, setting up your email for your website through G Suite. All these things can be figured out within Settings. Now, I told you that was pretty simple, right? I think it's a very, very easy way to set up your website, and I really think that anyone who's looking to have any sort of business really needs a website. So I hope that this tutorial shows you how easy it is to have your own platform and how important it is. Now, if you ever have any questions in regards to Squarespace, you can always contact their customer service. Their customer service is very prompt and very helpful, and they'll lead you exactly to where you need to go to solve your issue. Even when you email them for an issue, they do respond within a day or two. So of course that makes your process easier in terms of hosting your website through Squarespace. Now, I did skip out on two topics for website making. The first is domains. In terms of domains, like I said previously, you can actually get your domain through Squarespace while you're creating your website. So that's not a step you have to take outside of Squarespace. But in case you already have a domain that you'd like to use, you've already bought it through a different service, or you do find your domain cheaper through another service, you can always link it. I had one of each situation. In one instance, I already had a domain, and in the other, I didn't. So both ways work just fine in terms of linking it to your actual Squarespace website. Second, I didn't touch upon any of their subscriptions. Depending on what exactly it is you want to create your website for, you have different plan options. There's a very basic plan, which includes no business plan, which means you can't sell on your website. But for example, for my portfolio website, I only need it to act as my portfolio and to host my images and my videos. So for that, I have a very basic plan. But in contrast, for my dance company, we do sell our tickets online, and we do use Squarespace to do that. So we have a more business commerce plan to be able to do that. I would say all their plans are quite inexpensive. You can do it by month or you can do it yearly. I've done it yearly only because it comes out to be a little cheaper, and it's not like I'm going to delete my website anytime soon. So it only makes sense to get my subscription yearly, but all the details in regards to their different plans can be found on squarespace.com. All right, I've done way too much talking, and it's now time for you to go ahead and create your own website. Of course, I hope this was helpful and gave you a good overview of the platform Squarespace itself and how you can use it for the things that you do in your life. As always, thank you so much for watching, and if you haven't already, please go ahead and subscribe to my channel. I post new videos every single week, and you're not going to want to miss out on all the content I have for you guys. See you next week.